What is good, credit people? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Bob Lamb, and in today's video we're talking about the new J. Cole album called The Off Season. I wanted to give y'all my review after listening to it, and I thought it was actually the best project that dropped last night, in competition with, I guess, Nicki Minaj, who, you know, nothing to scratch at, but I like my man J. Cole better. Plus we had like His and Hers, the Lil Skies Deluxe album. Let me know in the comments if you want me to review those as well. I think there were some other drops too, but I just can't think of it right now. But anyway, the J. Cole album, he dropped 12 tracks, 10 of them being new, because he dropped Interlude, The Climb Back, like 9 months ago, and it happened to be, I guess, a single for the off season that nobody knew about. And the Interlude was cool as a single, but personally I didn't think it was the best choice. But for J. Cole doing his thing, he knows what to do. He knows his fans most. I'm not necessarily the demographic, the most focused J. Cole fan, so he's not trying to please me really, because I was thinking, you know, for a single you want to put more of a poppy sound, one that appeals to the widest audience to get the hype for your album up, get some radio play, get the first week sales up. But let's be real, J. Cole really don't care about that. He dropped an album with little to no promotion, and it's probably still going to sell 250K, but we'll get into the sales a little bit later for like my prediction. But to get into it, my favorite songs on the album were Applying Pressure, Pride is the Devil, and The Climb Back. Applying Pressure being the best song on the album for me. I don't know what it is, like he put some sort of like energy behind it, like he just ate some hot wings and he was trying to spit super clean and whatever. He was literally applying the pressure on them hoes, and by them hoes I mean like everybody else who dropped that night. In addition to that, we got some surprise features from our boy Lil Baby and also 21 Savage and some other people, but for like the Bob game we really just cared about Lil Baby, 21 Savage. I think Lil Baby had the best feature on the album. That was on the song Pride is the Devil, which was my second favorite song even without Baby on it, just because of the vibe. And typically I'm not the biggest Lil Baby fan. I usually think that he's pretty overrated because a lot of his flows are generally the same. I can't really tell one song from another, but he killed this song, so I can't complain whatsoever. He added to this album, and usually J. Cole don't even add features on his projects. Like KOD, his last major album, I don't think he had any features on it, and so now bringing in some surprise features, pulling a Travis Scott on like the Astro World. I don't know if Travis Scott was the first person to do surprise features, like not listing them on the Spotify or like all the DSP releases, but he's the first person that like I realized did it, and he did that with like Don Toliver, Drake, all those people. But if you haven't listened to the album, My Life is the song where 21 Savage is on it. Pride is the Devil is Lil Baby's feature. Now for just the general review of the album, I thought it was hard. J. Cole is pretty much the only lyrical rapper that I like to listen to other than Kendrick Lamar, but Kendrick just don't drop. It's been like what, 5-6 years or something like that since his last project. I don't think he's ever dropping, because now Isaiah Rashad is releasing a new album very soon, and he's part of TDE, which is the same label as Kendrick Lamar, and usually they all space out their projects. They don't like to drop around the same time as each other to step on each other's toes, so don't expect any Kendrick anytime soon. But what I think is special about J. Cole in his lyricism is that he's not sitting there trying to beat off and like show how big his dick is in the lyrical game. He's not saying anything complicated or trying to use too big of words or too many syllables with his words. He uses common dialect and common vocabulary for everybody so that you can understand it, even the most dumb people on this planet, and they're very relatable situations. So I guess J. Cole, with that, he's just the greatest storyteller, I would say. I mean, that one song on like Forest Hill Drive, I don't know what the song is called off the top of my head, but he was Wet Dreams. He was talking about the time that like a girl touches dick and he like accidentally jizzed in his pants. Like, bro, no one's talking about this. No one's rapping about that. There are so many situations where J. Cole is the only person to put that in a rap. True poet. But in addition to that, I think out of the lyrical rappers, and Kendrick Lamar is included in this as well, this ain't no diss towards him, but J. Cole, as being a lyrical rapper similar to Ski Mask the Slump God, I think does a very good job of bringing this old shit, I almost dropped my coffee, this old school style of rap, of like lyrics, but also putting 808, like the new age and modern trap 808 beats behind it, so it keeps it up to date. Whereas a lot of these old school rappers, they like aren't with the times, times and don't realize that people ain't listening to your shit unless you put 808s in them bitches. That's just how it is nowadays. So even though J. Cole is kind of off the map normally, he's not really in the media or on social media, he still understands the modern musical landscape, but that's probably because of his label, likely executive producing and helping out like JID and some of the other artists that he manages or signed. Now, the only songs that I really didn't like were Amari and My Life. I didn't necessarily not like them, and Interlude, I guess, but they just didn't stand out to me. It was kind of just like throwing bars at me. And again, y'all know me, I fuck with my man J. Cole, and he's the only person that I'll listen to what he's actually saying with these stories and, you know, throwing in like good punchlines, but it's still got to sound good before I listen to it. That's just the way it is. That's why I don't really care about lyrics normally, and some of these old school beats are kind of boring. But again, for the rest of the album, other than those 2 or 3 tracks, I loved it. Not to mention all the basketball references. I mean, the off season, which was an allusion towards basketball, I think. For there was some recent news that came out that he's actually playing on a Rwandan team called the Patriots in the African Basketball League that is starting very soon, or has already started. I'm not completely sure. There's like 12 teams in the league. Dude is actually like a pro basketball player. There were even rumors way back in the day that he was going to play in the NBA. He still might if he does well in this Rwandan league. It's kind of like a D league, I would think. But it all makes sense now that he dropped a project called The Off Season, and then he's taking an off season from rap and he was practicing basketball so he could go do that as his career, because sometimes it kind of gets boring to do the same thing your whole life, especially with how long J. Cole's been in the game, the rap game, that is. And I thought it was kind of cool how, I don't know what it is, and maybe I'm just like thinking too hard, but some of these beats even just remind me of like old school basketball beats. Like some of the samples and instruments used and notes just reminds me of stuff you would play while you're playing basketball or in some of these old basketball movies. I don't know. Again, I could just be in my own head. I don't know. But as a whole, I already told y'all I really like 9 out of 12 of the songs. You know how I rate albums. I usually take the percentage of how many songs I liked on Spotify out of the total number, and 9 out of 12 is what? 7.5. So I'm gonna give it an 8 because we're rounding up here. Only whole numbers up in EB. And I don't like to suck off any artist really too hard unless it's like Uzi, Cardi, Tripping. But even with them, I'll be pretty critical. I've been pretty critical of Uzi lately. Some other honorable mention songs that I thought were really great was 100 Mil and Close, and even 95 South, which again, when I listen to it, I feel like I'm fucking Michael Jordan jumping up in the air about to dunk and putting my dick in Dwight Howard's mouth. Pause. As for the prediction of the first week's sales, I was looking up the numbers for KOD, again, J. Cole's last major project, and we're not talking about compilation projects with Revenge of the Dreamers 2, and he ended up selling 397k, 174,000 of those being pure album sales, meaning his fans, who are usually old school fans, or at least a large percentage compared to other rappers, because J. Cole has been in the game for like over a decade, and so they clicked that purchase 99 cents on Apple Music or whatever it is, maybe Amazon Music. I don't know how people buy albums these days. That's whack, honestly. It's going overboard here. I already paid Spotify $10 this month, okay? But 174,000 people bought an album, so I would assume that, you know, maybe not as many people are gonna do that for this next album, the off season, because we're just becoming more and more into the streaming age. And so I would assume more people signed up for Spotify, but that would also mean that it's gonna get way more streams. So, but pure album sales are way easier to come by when you have a dedicated fan base. So I'm gonna predict at least 250,000 as opposed to, again, around 400,000 before with KOD, because I think the off season wasn't promoted as heavily as KOD, but I guess we'll see. 250k is still a lot, especially nowadays with streams and how Billboard, not counting merch bundles, which I assume J. Cole also accumulated with this 174,000 pure album sales, because that also includes merch bundles. But do not fret if it doesn't sell that much, because he's got more projects in the works. He's got It's a Boy, or at least I think that's the next project. Maybe he's actually having another child that he's training up to also be in the Rwandan basketball team league. And then finally, I believe he's retiring after the fall off, which he has already alluded to on KOD with like the somewhat diss track. Not really, he was just kind of giving advice to Lil Pump about what it's like to be a rapper and chasing trends and how you gotta move to actually make it in the rap game and have longevity. So I think that will be his greatest project, because that's a really cool project that not a lot of rappers speak on, because people fall off before they can, honestly. But yeah, again, 8 out of 10 for this project, the off season. I thought it was pretty solid. J. Cole killed it. Best project this past weekend. Best music this weekend. Always love me some Cole. And so with that, it's your boy bobbalam signing off. Trying out for the NBA just like J. Cole after all these 1v1s that I've been smoking rappers. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this new J. Cole project. Make sure to like and subscribe to join the Bob Gang if you with it. Peace out, kite people. Know what I'm saying?